the Webolution. What the web is, what the web can be. The fruit of frustration. All great inventions have been motivated and initiated by frustration. The frustration about something lacking in our life, the dissatisfaction that an obvious need of many people at a specific point in time was not met. This is true not only for the invention of the light bulb, but for a whole lot of other inventions that belong to our surroundings and make out our daily life. The interesting thing about inventions is they're revealing us lots about the human nature. When one human being invents, millions of others who have the same unfulfilled need just accept that faulty reality and remain uncreative. It is the one or a handful of people who sense the need and bring about what so many not even dream of. Some cynics said once in a while the web was like a horde of monkeys yelling at each other, and that it therefore had no or very little chance to survive as a serious communication highway. However, the negativists were, as so often, not heading right with their pessimistic outlook. Today, the internet is prospering as an alternative publishing network. The reasons are obvious. It is the dramatic change in channeling information and the possibility to share all that stuff that can be shared electronically that makes the difference to traditional publishing. It is not really to bring out a book that contains links to other links as well as voice, image and video content. It's much more like TV having become interactive before TV really has become interactive. Perhaps the intention for this dates back to the very start of the web, and this intention is strongly motivated by reasons. There are reasons why people want to change certain things, or why they want to change a whole business, a whole industry, and even a whole history. There are manifest reasons, but these reasons are not materialistic, not greed-related in the first place. This is perhaps not always so, but with the internet it's surely the case. The reasons are related to personal power and to the ideal of total communication between human beings. And that is new. It's new because formerly we were thinking more locally and less globally. We were much more tightly held by our leaders and our militaries, by our flags and our national myths, and we were much more tightly held within the borders of our national boundaries, universes. While now the world has become a village. We still have national borders, we still have flags, we still have militaries, of course, but we are going to change the thinker behind those things, those institutions and those daily realities. And this thinker somewhere somehow has found out that he or she is more than a thinker and that there is more than thinking. We have found out that it's nicer to share thoughts than to think more. We have found out that it's even nicer to share thoughts and art and music, and this beyond our national borders and our national mentalities. We found that all this has somewhere, somehow, something to do with love, and that it's love that is the ultimate motivation of this crazy network that we call the internet. And with that new vision, we then look at traditional publishing. And we see the traditional publishing situation is such that creative new ways of publishing are most of the time obstructed by the simple fact that the publisher is profit-oriented and wants to make sure that the book is sold. This situation makes it gifted writers sometimes very hard or even impossible to get through and find the way to their audience. There are many stories about books that have been refused again and again and finally ended up for weeks or months on bestseller lists. One famous example is the book Zen or the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance by Robert M. Pirsig, one of the most important books of our times, and which yet was refused by 120 publishers. One can only admire the persistence of the author who approached the 121st publisher, who, however reluctantly, accepted publishing. This book rapidly sold as a world bestseller and was translated in I don't know how many languages. My point is that the internet, or more generally electronic publishing, is a new form of information distribution and follows different principles than the traditional publishing industry. To publish on the internet has several major advantages. The web is free of the profit filter built in traditional publishing. A natural selection is made through the interest publications find among users. The web is a living system which grows naturally and is ruled by more subtle laws and customs than the traditional publishing landscape. These generally unwritten laws are similar to the very foundations of life. This is not astonishing, since the web grew like wild strawberries in the forest, rather than within the boundaries of century-old conventions. The web is a landscape where everybody gets a chance to move in, and where everybody who pursues literary interests can learn and grow, and where everybody can build and revise publishing strategies. I have a friend in Holland who is a psychologist and who has published hundreds of articles and books in several countries and languages, and this within traditional publishing. But he reports that he is completely helpless in front of the capricious tours played to him by his publishers. It happened to him several times that his texts had been censored or cut down by the editor shortly before publishing without previous notice. In one case, only by the time that the book was in the store, he had found out about the betrayal. He and several others told me that this was absolutely normal from the side of publishing companies, and worse even if those companies were large and renowned. Since I was rebellious in this respect, my friends told me that I was never going to publish. He was right and wrong at the same time. He was right in that I indeed never published with traditional publishers, and he was wrong in that I was going to self-publish my stuff, and in a way that when he got to know about it left him speechless. My elder friend was always astonished to see me editing my texts on my laptop, as if they were the manuscripts of somebody else. "You waste your time with all this," he used to comment, smiling, "since the publisher will disregard it completely and put it in the way he likes it." "He will not," used to be my reply. No publisher ever changed my manuscripts, since I never gave any of my manuscripts to a publisher. Yet nobody thought at that time of the web as a real new publishing option that could come even remotely close to traditional publishing. The world has become unthinkable without online publishing. Today we call it blog publishing, but that is surely only one of the many masks that the new media giant is going to wear. First we were just talking about home pages, then we got the e-book, then the blog. But all these are but peaks of the iceberg of a totally new way of expressing oneself. Because there is not only the word, there is also the image, and there is the film, there is sound, and there is music. And all these media can be combined in infinite ways. The industry has really become creative to come up with solutions, and the pace is somewhat too fast, and a lot will be trashed later on because it's all based on trial and error. And why not? Something that is like a new gospel, a new power, a new global village for all. So to put it clearly, the internet is the first international organization that really works in the sense of res publica, as the old Romans called political matters. And in that sense, as a forum for the public cause, the Internet really is functional. Minorities, for example, be they racial, political, or sexual, are effectively propagated through the web. The police laws of most countries can prohibit minorities from gathering as long as those gatherings take place within local boundaries. But the police cannot legally control them when these gatherings take place online. Since web meetings are virtual, they do not fall within those laws. As a result, it can be said that the web created more democracy and freedom of speech. However, this freedom also means that we have to use it responsibly. If we allow people to abuse of it, we jeopardize our newly gained privilege. International fundamentalism, secret intelligence services, right-wing movements, misguided groupings, and a large mass of frustrated individuals only wait for the chance to exert a tight control over the web so as to install new and hitherto unknown forms of totalitarian government and rulership. The only effective way to prevent this from happening is that we exert self-control in all forms of online publishing and virtual communication.